Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. It is a prism of endless possibilities, where a single podcast can branch out into infinite podcasts. Realities. Creating alternate worlds from the ones that you know. I am Mr. I am Mr. Honest, aka Eric Cicada. I am your guide through these vast new realities. Follow me one last time and ponder the question, what if? What if? Title of our episode. I'm not patronizing the show. I actually really liked delivering that speech a few years ago. I think it was the finale I did. And actually, starting at the end, the really cool version of this shows off a bunch of different variants of a bunch of different heroes at the very end, and the Watcher is narrating, and he alters the end a little bit. I don't have that exact new version, but the Watcher is doing a little bit more than just watching now, and I would call him the definitive Watcher, with a giant self-sacrifice and a lot revealed about the Watchers in general. It feels like this was one of the best episodes, if not the best, and a finale on top of that nods to the rest of the show that came before it, the iconic characters and moments. And in ways, they do that by forming a team similar to the Guardians of the Multiverse, except Peggy formed this. And in other ways, this show steps over a lot of boundaries that the MCU has kind of set up. And it gives this show the edge by letting it kind of fumble its way through the multiverse and build the lore of the multiverse. And, why are these guys here if they're just meant to watch? Seriously, what is their purpose? Like, why are they like so ultra divine if all they can do is watch and can't change and can't fix and can't help? I think that is what Uatu, the name of the Watcher, is thinking. And we find out that he definitely hasn't just been doing the on-screen saves. There's been a couple of instances where he was saving other variants. So it's a thing he kind of does, but like denies. It's like when I eat ice cream, kind of like, you're excited. You want to make this happen. You get through the bowl and then, but you save someone and then it's just, maybe this is a bad comparison, but I'm excited about this episode in general, just because it was an ending to the show, but a very satisfying one, leaving inches open to come back for more. I feel like it would be like a saga 2 or phase 2 of the show where we leave behind actually like Peggy and everything. Well, a big thing that happened in this episode, the most Captain America thing, Captain Carter makes the sacrifice play. And it's the thing that gets everyone to kind of come to peace at the end. So this was a huge episode of TV, let alone Marvel television, let alone the MCU. I am just sorry to think that there's a group of people missing out on it because it's an animated show, or because they've had preconceived notions, because certain fans in comments sections are never pleased and they have to criticize everything down to its last bone. And when outsiders hear that, there's like, I don't have to watch that now. I don't like that, because everyone should have their own opinion. I actually have a very high opinion of most of the things Marvel's done. They don't pay me to say that. A lot of people don't like most of Phase 4. I thought some of Phase 4, if not a lot of it, was great. And onward with Phase 5, it's hard to please the fans. We've been spoiled. So the opening of this episode, we get the Watcher kind of exiting his training. He even says he's never been more certain of a disciple's devotion to our mission. What is the mission? What's the mission, guys? To watch and to watch. I didn't start questioning this until their little mythical fifth dimension starts opening up and their reasoning starts to make no sense. For all I know, they're just watching the multiverse like it's TV. And like eons later, like you said, you'll just understand you can't interfere because it's a TV show and you're not supposed to jump in the screen and change things and move them around and organize. And I think a big theme in the multiverse saga is rethinking how we can work the multiverse instead of have it work against us, aka the heroes and the people of the MCU. So I like the opening with the Watcher, kind of getting trained by his master and accepting the oath. Like, even by accident, he didn't even know he accepted it, but he did remember it later in the episode. We're doing our jumping around today. How do you feel about Marvel Maniac Podcast without an outline? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I think it's fine. I come to this conclusion almost every podcast of like the last 20, and it's that I don't need to read the script to you. You just watched it. I mean, I know there are a few people who go in looking for like spoiler-free reviews before they see a movie. I personally never have liked that, so I won't be doing that. But I just think, it's good to just do what the Watcher says kind of in this episode and, do what you must do. And nobody says that. Nobody says that in this episode. But there's just a lot of emphasis on devotion and sacrifice and rules in this episode. We go for a pretty wild ride, I'd say, for the series finale. A line that Uatu asked his master at the beginning and also is re-answered at the end. What's the point of watching, he asks. And only with time can a watcher understand that for themselves. So, you know what? They did leave the Watcher very open-ended instructions here, okay? And I could totally stand up for him here. He may have broken some laws, may have inadvertently helped evil version of Doctor Strange create his entirely own universe, something that is the Achilles heel somehow to the Watchers, and that ends up being their downfall, actually, in this episode, which is really, really sweet and a really nice homage to the Doctor Strange of the show, who had a big impact. And personally, it's up there in my top maybe 3, if not 5 episodes of the series. I mean, I think I'd be crazy not to put it at number 3 or 2. I love What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart and Out His Hands. It's such a natural course for this guy to take. It reminds us and enforces what we learn in Multiverse of Madness, that Doctor Strange, he's not that great of a guy in most universes, and the ones that he is, it's the one that we know. We don't know all the Doctor Stranges. We know the one who was trying to do the right thing in 838. I always say that universe wrong. It's the one from Multiverse of Madness. However, we meet evil variants of him everywhere, and it always probably ties back to Christine. And in this universe, our MCU universe precisely, he has gotten over Christine. He loved her, lost her, but it never was the main focus. He was more internally driven and captivated, in my opinion, in our universe about the arts and the magic and the things he can learn to do and all the ancient knowledge to use for good. So I think our Doctor Strange is the best Doctor Strange. I didn't mean to go down this tangent on him, but this is the tangent episode. This is a season finale, so it's time to tangent it out before we lose What If forever. Now let me ask you, fans, what do you think the chances are of there being another season or 3 of What If? As of now, that's not happening. That's not planned. This is technically the series finale. Do you think the show can be extended into more seasons with a different story, different type of setting, and enforcing the new rules of the Watcher and that underlying story with the Watcher and the Guardians? I'm still calling them the Guardians of the Multiverse, even though it was just Captain Carter with a whole new group of badass women. If anyone had a problem with all the girls, God, it didn't take me until the very end to realize, oh, it's an all-women team, and I was excited about that. I don't say be like me ever, but in that sense, be like me. Don't put something down just because there's women in it. And something that triggers me though is when people say that, I assume they're targeting me and I'm the person who really doesn't like do that unless it's like by accident. But I don't know. Personally, bringing these girls together, especially like Storm from the X-Men and Captain Carter and Kahori, it's like kind of a bunch of original characters. It's homage to the whole show in that of itself, and I love that. From the very beginning, the Watcher is saying, what if, and it's sort of the Watcher's phrase. And the universe is filled with infinite possibilities. I'd recommend, and I'm going to have to go back and watch that ending scene of like the speech he gave, because they never did a title sequence. They did it at the end. And the way they did that was showing all these other variants. Kind of, in my opinion, that was them being like, look at all the cool variants we got. I see a Lady Punisher. That's the first and only thing I remember. But there was some cool looking concepts for characters we know, like rethought, reimagined, and those stories are happening out there in the multiverse. We just don't get to see them. We can imagine. This may have been the first season they didn't have a Thanos cameo. They might have had one, but I don't remember it, and I don't think they did. And I'm okay with that. This show brought back Thanos probably 5 or 6 times, and since it's MCU canon, it let me beat Dustin and TJ their point that Thanos will never return. Well, here he is, guys. He's been embodied in this show. He's in the inner workings of this show. He's inspired Marvel zombies. I hope we find out what happened to zombie Thanos in that show. I don't know if they're gonna just like reboot the whole zombies thing from like a fresh perspective and not go off of the one in the middle of the season what if episode from a few years ago. I put money on it that they just completely start over. So like no one's dead. None of the it's a different scenario. That's my guess, because they answered a lot of questions and also fought like most of the Avengers in the what if episode. So for Marvel Zombies, the animated series, you'd have to imagine that some people might not even have seen what if, and they're going to probably redo the origins and maybe even the team or two that are holding up in different places. And I am excited to see how they fix the zombie problem as superheroes, or just live through it and have to fight villains in a zombie-ridden world. Another just thought that goes off another thought off of this show. This show is a beautiful centerpiece to the multiverse saga. In my opinion, it's a nice cool down. Every season feels right, and it's always a pleasure and exciting moment when I'm opening a new episode of What If. Anything can happen. Possibilities are endless in an endless multiverse of possibilities. It's a beautiful thing, something that the Watcher says. I'm sitting here on page 1 of my 7 pages of notes, which are all quotes from the show, and they just kind of help me get there. I let you guys in on my podcasting world a little too much, but I can't help it, man. I'm Mr. Honest, dude. It's my excuse and my name. The Watcher asks, what if I fail you? And it just cuts to the other Watcher saying, you have failed me. That they put him on trial. They don't like that he's been getting involved. Like I said, even with things we haven't seen, like Reed Richards and other people we don't even know, he has his way of kind of writing it off like it's okay because he's barely doing anything and it's the right thing. And he's gotten probably in the more of the habit of doing it as we've seen him, and he's intervening more and more and more. And I can only think that he's breaking his rules when he's doing that. He's doing that. He does at the end of the very first season to contain Infinity Ultron, who, how about this, does not last very long against the Watchers. We learn that the Watchers are very, very powerful. They all have the super macho bodies of a Watcher that we saw them fighting Infinity Ultron. And they want to wipe literally this whole group from existence. It will take Captain Carter, Kahori, anyone who is in this blast towards the end, it's going to eliminate them from every single universe that they're in. And that is scary and sad. And there's so many cool things that happen in this episode. It's almost like I can't contain it. And Peggy Carter is revealed by the Watchers to be captive next to Uatu. And he's very worried because he likes Peggy. Peggy's probably his best friend. And I was going to say maybe a little crush there, but honestly, I don't think so at all. I don't think the Watchers are even like that. I think they're completely they're They're like priests or something. Are they like priests where they just can't be with anyone? I don't know. Are there female watchers? I have not seen one yet. Is there any other watchers aside from those three? You know? Seems like those are the guys. Seems like those are the guys we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy standing on the rock with Stan Lee. Like, I think it was the very same guys, in my opinion. However, in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, we keep saying that. Seriously, there probably are some more watchers. I don't know. If there are, that might spell trouble for our watcher. It might spell more trouble, more adversaries, more seasons. I mean, I'm not gonna like ignore the moment anymore. There's a lot of dialogue in this episode, and I'm gonna like talk about mostly what I remember, like the Watchers kind of getting beat up by these new Guardians of the Multiverse, but not enough. Like Kahora tries to put a teleportation tube, like portal, and it just doesn't work. And every time the smoke clears, the Watchers are just standing there, and they get kind of pissed, so they throw them all up against the wall. And this is where Uatu has this crazy idea. And we'll come right back to that, because right when they save the Watcher, I have to admit, and I didn't say it, but Infinity Ultron actually did give them the chance to escape and make a plan and at least get on the right trajectory to the end of this episode. Infinity Ultron was redeemed. Another character redeemed. Doctor Strange, Supreme. Even though he didn't have a line in the episode, he was present at the end because somehow they led the Watchers to his new universe. And in that universe, they can't control anything. They don't have power. What they do later is get the power of the Watchers by the Watcher giving his oath to all of the ladies standing there or being pushed against that cliff, and they all do it. They all become Watcher power. Like, I was worried they were all going to get giant heads, you know what I mean? They were going to look silly as hell. But they just got the cool glowy eyes and the like really sick powers on all their weapons. Like Captain Carter's shield, totally like magical now. She can like create it and bash matter, and like it breaks, it comes back together. It slices in half. She double throws her shield. She's sick. I need her to have a movie or be in a movie. I need it, please. I need to see more. And it's just so great that it's based off of Haley Atwell. Like it's not a new character. It's someone that we know, and she's been following and sticking with this character all these years. I think like a solo movie or like a team up movie, not Multiverse of Madness. I don't want to see that happen to her again. That hurt me that hurt me kind of deep. One of those personal unredeemable moments by Wanda for me, for sure. Before they even get to this battle, they even got like a Watcher spaceship that like lets them sit between dimensions and fly through dimensions. But the Watchers catch up with them so fast. The big battle takes place on a really pretty plane. And I love the sky, and I love the setting of this. Even though there's so much destruction happening, still very lighthearted and fun. Especially these guys being so firm as not to budge from their oath, to not intervene, and to feel so offended by our Watcher, Uatu. I'm going to keep saying his name because it's a beautiful name. They didn't want him to do this, but they didn't tell him not to. And after all the fighting, and after all of these heroes come together with their immense power, probably stronger than any other hero now in the multiverse, they have to stand out of the way pretty much as Watchers, unless like there's a giant threat to the multiverse, which the Watcher believes. And the Watcher actually gives the other Watchers a chance at letting this be, and survival, and finding a new way, a new order, a new oath, a new way to move forward. I skipped over most of the fighting and all the action, but the biggest thing that happened for this all need to happen is Captain Carter sacrificed herself. I don't think there's no coming back, but at the same time, that was a very big sacrifice. Like I think she's gone, man. I don't know. But the fact that Stephen Strange can return in the stars because he created a universe and he's subconsciously running that universe and can control things that are going on. I think she brought them there with that blast. If not, I'm pretty sure I'm honestly probably going to rewatch these couple episodes. I won't do an after show since we've been doing them every day. Unless you guys, like in a week, if someone really wants one, let me know. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I could throw together a little after show, but at the same time, I feel like covering all these episodes 8 days in a row with a recap episode making it 9. I think that's a good chunk to sit in our library before we get back to Moon Knight and move on to more movies and stuff. This has been a unique experience for me. So by the end of the episode, the characters are walking their own paths, and they are in the middle of the multiverses, and they seem to be the Watchers now. Like Storm, the new bird lady, who's Howard the Duck and Darcy's daughter, who's just awesome, crazy on another level, Kohori, and of course the Watcher, and the endless possibilities in a multiverse of infinite possibilities. I'm not going to keep this too long because if you add up all the time I've been here, I'm taking up a lot of your time. I appreciate you working with me as I try to go off outline again and see what that sounds like and see if it's a little more controlled, exciting chaos instead of me sticking directly to an outline and going down it like bullet points. I like to feel a little more organic when I'm talking to you guys. I like to feel like you're in the room with me, and I don't want you to feel left out of my discussion with myself. When they're talking about Peggy at the end and how she sacrificed everything, the Watcher feels like he is being watched for the first time in his life. And the big question is even asked to the Watcher by Storm: is there another plane of existence beyond this reality that we go when we die? You're asking this man if there's a heaven, and he pretty much says yes. And that's good, because there is a heaven, right? I'm not asking, I'm telling you. But everyone has their own beliefs, and there's no offense to having your own belief. I mean, atheist is not a religion, though, so it's like, don't come to me with that. All right, that's the most controversial we're going to get on our show, period. What did you think of Season 2 of Marvel's What If? Get back to me, MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to email me. I want to hear your thoughts. Everyone and anyone listening is welcome to send me an email, short, long, anything. Also, rate the show on whatever platform you're listening. It means the world, and every platform a thumbs up or a 5 stars or whatever their system is. Give it that. It's getting me in the algorithm little by little, episode by episode. And I really love doing this, and I would really like to keep doing it for a long time. So like I said, possibilities are endless. We could have another season of this down the road. They might just want to finish the multiverse saga and have this show be its little multiverse show. I think there will be fan demand back for it, especially with it coming out around Christmas time like this. There's going to be a lot of nostalgia for it, and I love this show. You can criticize certain episodes or aspects, and I might even agree with you on some of them, but for me, it's not worth pointing out. And looking at the bigger picture of this whole show past the last 8 days, it's kind of a pleasure to have been able to watch it subsequently like this. Because with a Netflix show, if you think about it, you will pretty much binge it in one day and then forget everything. When you're watching What If every day, no matter the reason that they're actually putting it out like that, I don't know why they did that 2 years in a row. But despite that, it's giving a little more room to think and ponder and get excited for the next day. It's a unique way of putting out episodes, and it might have just been the perfect show for them to test that out on. All I want to keep saying is I hope the show comes back. So it seems like I'm squeezed for material at this time, even though this episode was filled with it. I'm still processing it. That's why I'm considering an after show. Maybe we'll do one next week. I'm considering it, but if you really want one, reach out to me on MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com or lend me a message in the tip jar. I don't like saying that. You don't have to. You can leave a message in the tip jar is what I'm saying, like that, and then I'd get it too. Not begging or anything. Oh boy, here we go. We're going down this rabbit hole. Uatu would probably tell me to stay focused and not intervene in this situation, which I agree with. I hope it's been a great holiday season for you. It's been a pleasure being here every day through Christmas and beyond. About to head into a brand new year with you, and there's plenty of more Marvel Maniac to come. I remember a lot of times where I said that, and then the next episode didn't come for a year. I don't think I'm going to do that this time. pretty sure I'm sticking with it. I have some pretty good long-term goals for the show. I have some big plans for next year, and guests and old friends, TJ and Dustin, and so much. This is my safe place. This is my happy place, and I'm happy for you to be here with me if you're still here along for the ride. God bless you, and I hope you have a very super duper happy new year. I will see you next time with the continuation of our coverage of Moon Knight. We have finished 3 episodes. We got 3 to go. So if you're wondering, I didn't listen to those yet, you want to watch along, you still got a little time. We're going to be starting on episode 4, which is a plot-heavy episode, which is why I didn't want it to air on Christmas along with the What Ifs. I figured I'd take a break and come back, and now I'm really excited to come back to Moon Knight. So be looking out for that. Be looking out for a after show for Captain Marvel. There's a lot of things that happen with Captain Marvel, and it's way overdue that I get to her movie. I'm kind of doing them chronologically now, more or less. But we'll talk about that too, and we'll talk about all the other movies we haven't, all the theories, all the possibilities in an ever-expanding multiverse. Thank you again so much. Have the greatest new year. I'll just say it again. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, and until next time, Avengers, disassemble.